What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. So look, y'all know I often bring conversations in my everyday life to this YouTube channel, right? And so I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about the N-word, right? Y'all know what the N-word is. I ain't got to spell it out for y'all. I ain't got to say it. Y'all know what it is. We were talking about how the N-word is used more commonly amongst older generations of black folks compared to younger generations. I'm 30 years old, exactly 30. People younger than me don't really use it that much. They really don't. They do some cursing and all type of other stuff they say that can be disrespectful. But the N-word is not like commonly blurted out or used in the everyday vocabulary like it is for older generations of black people, right? And so the conversation then flipped to why black people try to police that word, why we police it, why we don't want other communities saying that word. And again, it shouldn't be something that I have to explain, but I just thought it was just like an interesting conversation that we had. So for me, right, I'm a black man on South Side Chicago, Illinois. In all the music I listened to growing up, the N-word was said all the time, right? It was just something that was said, and it was always a conversation of non-black people wanting to say that word or wondering why can't they say that word. A lot of them already know why they can't. The fact of the matter is, a lot of populations, a lot of different people don't like restrictions on them. They don't like to be said that they can't say certain things. They can't do certain things. They want to feel like they can do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? And why? Who are we? Who are black people to say that they can't say that word too? And my argument is always, well, black people would be we would be criticized heavily if we use the C word in regards to the Asian community. If we use the K word in regards to the Jewish community. Now, those words aren't commonly said, but if we were to say that, all hell would break loose, right? Because that word is offensive to those groups of people. So the N-word was a word that was used to make my people, my ancestors, feel less than low. That word was used to make them feel like less than citizens, right? It was used to make them feel like they were the scum at the bottom of people's shoe. It was a word to make them feel like they were always gonna be beneath white American society, right? And even non-American white people were calling black people the N-word as an insult because they knew it was something that was degrading towards black folks, right? I come from a grandmother who is from rural Mississippi, right? She migrated to Chicago in 1960 during the Great Migration when my grandfather got a job in Chicago. But my grandmother from Mississippi, y'all, my grandmother lived through times where she had to use the bathroom in bushes on road trips or when our father was driving places because they could not sit in with white people. They were called the N-word commonly, right? Talked about in vile ways, talked about with disgust. That word was used to strike fear into black people, right? By white supremacists all throughout the South. My grandmother saw that word be weaponized against her people, against her relatives, against her friends. Hell, against some of her children, against her own children, my father, right? So when I got of age, when you get older, you get wiser, you understand why that word hurts to black folks and how some black folks don't even want to say it amongst each other. See, what happened was a lot of the black folks saw how that word was being weaponized against us, and we took that word back. We took the ER off the word and put the A at the end and made it something that we wouldn't let hold us back. We created a word that would be endearing to our people. We could say it amongst each other, not with the ER, with the A, to make it something that could be endearing with each other, amongst each other. We flipped the word in a way, per se, right? But my grandmother now, she still ain't play about that word, regardless of how you said it. Because she saw the effects of that word and how it was used, right? And when I got older and I understand where my grandmother and grandfather came from, what they overcame in life, I say, no, they right. You know what I mean? Now, granted, have I used it every now and then? Yeah, I don't use it commonly, I don't. But have I used it? Yeah. But I understand. So when I saw how that word I come from a grandmother, when she saw Barack Obama become president, she cried. I sat with her, tears came down her eyes. Because she never thought she would see the day where a black man would be the president of the United States of America. She thought that would never happen because she came from Jim Crow era, before Jim Crow, all that. She came from, like, my grandmother was born like when not slavery, but she was born when segregation and racial discrimination was at a height. You know what I mean? So when I saw her, how she responded to that word, it struck me in a different chord, in a different way. And so when I see how my grandmother talks about being discriminated against, and my grandfather talked about my grandfather was, and my father and her children, my uncles and aunts and stuff like that, how that word was used to disrespect them, you damn right I don't want nobody else in the other community, in any other community, using that word. I don't. Right? Because you're not, like, that word was used to make my people live in fear. It was used to make them feel like they were disgusting people. So I'm not going to ever advocate for that word being used outside of the black community. Now, look, some people don't like that the black folks flipped it. Some people feel like black people should not be using it in its entirety. And if you do, I understand it. But I know black folks will use it and so on and so forth. But I'll be damned if I'm letting somebody else in another community say that word. You don't have the connection to know where that word came from and how that word affected our people. You don't. Right? You don't have, like, you didn't go through that with your ancestors, your grandmother, your grandfather, your I had my great grandmother living, telling me about this stuff. You know what I mean? I had my maternal great grandmother living to tell me about stuff she went through. My paternal grandmother came from Mississippi, rural Mississippi. My maternal great grandmother came from Birmingham, Alabama. Montgomery and Birmingham. She came from that, and during that time period, she's seen all of that. The Montgomery bus boycott, she saw that up close and personal. So she know what that word is and how that stuff affected her. It's people that want to use that word so bad, a lot of them don't have no connection to that, to understand how that word was used to show hatred for black people. They just want to use it because they think it's some cool shit to do. They had their favorite rapper doing it. They want to be, jump on the bandwagon. They want to be a part of the team. They want to get, kudos, some cool points. They want to use it and seem cool too. To me, that shit not a cool thing to me. It's not a game of being cool. Right? I can never hang around a non-black person and using that N-word at all. Excuse me. I can't. Knowing what I know from my great-grandmother, my grandmother, that came from the southern parts of America. When they telling me about stuff they father and mother went through, so on and so forth. Come on, man. Like, they went through some stuff that I can only even imagine. And regardless if some of the stuff they went through is not going on today, I don't give a fuck. I seen how that word affected my people. I'm never letting nobody just use it. I don't care. A lot of people like to give the past that, it's certain people outside of the black community, whether it be islanders or Hispanic, they come from, African cultures. People are descendants of African cultures. And again, I don't be letting that ride, because when you ask them or ask they people, are they black, they will tell you hell fucking no. They gonna tell you they from whatever country they from. They Ecuadorian, they're Tongan, they're Samoan, they're Puerto Rican, they not black, they Mexican, they not black. They're gonna tell you all of those things. And there's no disrespect to anybody of a different ethnicity on my channel, because I know a lot of Hispanic people use the N-word. But to me, I don't think that's cool, because a lot of them don't rep their African ancestry. You have some that do. And recognize it, and they acknowledge it and all of that, and they've been acknowledging it for centuries. But you got some people that want to acknowledge it when it's convenient for them. They don't claim to be black in any other time of the day, at any other hour, until it's time to say the N-word in their favorite rap song. Then they want to talk about how their great-great-grandpa and their great-great-grandma was this, that, and the third. And, and then they want to bring it up. But other than that, they don't claim black in no type of way. So yeah, I'm going to feel a way about that. You know what I mean? And see, let me explain the demographics of Chicago, Illinois. Because see, in other places, so Chicago, Illinois is the most segregated city in America. In other places where there are high immigrant populations, like there's high immigrant populations here, but we don't live amongst each other in Chicago. In New York, from what allegedly, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, in New York, a lot of them live amongst each other. They go to school amongst each other. Whether you be Puerto Rican, Dominican, whether you be Mexican, whatever, a lot of them go to school with each other. They marry within each other in families. They all hang out amongst each other, all of that. In California is like that. A lot of the Asians live amongst black folks. Islanders live amongst black people. They go to school together. They go to the parks together. You know, they play basketball together. All this and all of that. Right? And so they feel like they should allow those people to say those words because, hey, they grew up with us. But me, I don't care how much you grew up. You could grow up right next door to me. I'm not letting no non-black person say the N-word. I'm not. I'm never going to be comfortable with that. Because I know where it come from. And unless you repping black ancestry, and I seen your people rep black ancestry for real, you know what I'm saying? I ain't riding with it. Because it's a lot of, you know, white Hispanics that want to say the N-word a lot. And they have no connection to the black ancestry the way that word comes from. A lot of them do. No disrespect, because I love everybody on this channel. I really do. But I'm just telling y'all the facts. And it's Hispanics in Chicago that say the N-word for sure, too. It is. And it's brothers that get them a pass. But it's a lot of black folks in Chicago that look at non-black Hispanic people, especially when you're a non-black Hispanic, and people looking at you like, hey, nah. Hey, and we know, even if you're a black Hispanic, you ain't repping that culture, you rep, hey, cool that shit out now. Watch, because we know you're really not identifying with black culture outside and anything else until you want to say the N-word. And even the people that are not even and for the white Hispanics, we know you have no connection to that word. So what is going on? And we don't feel compelled to allow you to do that because we don't grow up. Like, it's not like we don't grow up amongst each other like that to say, oh, we'll let them get a pass for saying it because this person grew up with us. Like, it's very rare that we white folks do not be growing up with us in Chicago. Hispanic people live in their own communities. Black people live with black people. Asians live with Asians. This is how it is in Chicago. And some people could say, well, that could be a problem. Yeah, but I don't care. We all grew up amongst each other. I'm still not letting you say the N-word because people don't feel the same way my people feel when that word was used. It wasn't used against them in a way that was weaponized against my grandma, my great-grandmama, and my great-grandfather. It wasn't. You know, and they saw the effects of that word, and they didn't like us using it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always going to feel different. I'm always going to feel like, nah, I'm standing on that. Nah, I can't whoop everybody's ass to say the word or nothing like that. I ain't going to jail behind the word. But I know I can't be around you. I can't be kicking it with you. You want to say that word and you're not black. I can't do it. Other people are more lenient with that. Not me. Not me. My people came from the rural South. I seen how it affected them. You know what I'm saying? They came to Chicago telling us about all this stuff they went through. You know, my grandmother was down there doing the Montgomery bus boycotts. You know, she lived through that. My great-grandmother. Seen them, no N-words allowed and all that. She's seen that type of stuff. So that shit ring different in my spirit to know my people was hurt by that. So, yeah, nah. You know, and again, because we didn't grow up amongst other ethnicities, it's so segregated here. Like my homie, my best friend, his grandfather is white. His grandma black. His grandfather was the only white man I knew growing up in the hood of Chicago. Seriously. Now, there's certain white folks in different small little pockets, like little baby mama and them white. But she grew up, she the only one in the whole big, huge neighborhood. It's rare to see white people walking through our neighborhood. I mean, not rare. I'm talking about it's rare like finding a UFO. You're not gonna see them walking through Inglewood. They not walking, no, they not doing that. They not walking through Washington Heights like that. They not coming to Terrytown or over East like that. They not doing it like that. In some of them pockets, they didn't grow up amongst us, so we don't feel compelled to like, oh, they gotta say it because they grew up like, it's a different thing. And I'm not villainizing other black people in other states that do that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't agree with it though. You can tell me how you grew up all you want to. I just know that a lot of non-black people only want to claim black ancestry when it's time to say the N-word, and they really don't claim it outside of that. And if you ain't trying to claim the rest of this black shit right here on me, I'm this shit every single day of the week, 24/7. I never can fit into, I can't be racially ambiguous. I can't be The Rock. I can't be Vin Diesel. I can't be a black person that's a chameleon that can fit in here and here with it. I can go with the black sometimes. I can go with the Samoan. I can go with the Dominican. No, I'm black, dog. This it. This it. I have no choice. I'm this shit every day. You feel me? So to see somebody that can be conveniently trying to come slip and slide and then don't want to claim it when they want to, only when it's time to say the N-word, that ain't trying to ride with us when we trying to get certain things done, we trying to get certain benefits, they ain't riding and rocking with us. Nah. I ain't ever, no. Because there's a lot of people that, when they want to say the N-word, they black. When it's time for black folks to go get something, we talking about reparations in America, we talking about getting resources, oh, they get to calling us complainers. Y'all complain too much over here. Ooh, all that other crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? I done got in that in other videos, right? And I see it a lot. You know, so because my people came from where they come from, and my people black, and the struggle that they had, is no way I'm giving another community license to use that word and think it's cool or acceptable. That's why I commended Ice Cube when he got on Bill Myers. I think it's Bill Meyer, I think his name. Bill Meyer got on Bill Meyer's ass. You know what I mean? For trying to use the N-word. Just because you date black girls and he date like porn stars and shit like that, like some people that we would consider low society people. Just because you out here trying to date some little freaks, some black porn stars or something like that, that don't mean you get a pass to say that word, dog. You don't understand this plight. Your people wasn't directly connected to that. So no, man, I couldn't be one of them dudes in Hollywood kiki when folks say the N-word and I know. Dog, hell no. I couldn't do that. Cause I know, you know what I'm saying, that shit, nah, the stuff that my people felt, hearing that word, hearing themselves, or yeah, hearing them be referred to as that, to make them feel like they wasn't shit as people. You know, my grandmother came to Chicago, they did their thing. My grandfather, my grandmother, they came, they got their, grandmother got an education. My grandfather was good with his hands, carpenter. Got here and got to it and made sure that they provided for their children, for sure. But you know, I knew the discrimination they ran from and the discrimination they still faced in Chicago, even though they came from the South. The shit was still here. Discrimination didn't leave. It wasn't just in the South. This shit was still here. It just wasn't as ample as it was in the South, or it just, not ample, it was the same. It just wasn't as out in the open as much as it was in the South when they came to Chicago. So yeah, man, I'm standing on that. I ain't letting nobody else in another community get the license to say that word after I saw how that affected my folks. I don't care. I don't care, man. You know, it is what it is. You know, so I'm always going, again, I can't be fighting everybody. I can't be fighting from the hilltops to the mountains. But I know you using that word, I'm going to call your ass out and you ain't kicking it around me. Hell no. Hell, I'm going to call your ass out, check you like a motherfucker, and you ain't kicking it with me. Because I just see, I'm not Asian people saying it, and you got Dominicans that think they just not black at all, and I'm not saying all of them do, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, no. You got certain groups of Hispanics talk down on black folks and then want to say N-word and then want to talk about black ancestry. Like, what? How? Now you want to claim black ancestry after you was shitting on black folks for asking for reparations, calling us lazy and all that? When we don't get none of them loans as black Americans that a lot of other groups of people get when they come over to the country, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I'm always going to police that word, dog. I'm sorry. Peace.